Hello, welcome to 15.1 day 1 notes. Here's your problem of the day. They are a refresher on Pythagorean theorem. So remember our Pythagorean theorem. If I can get the draw. Our equation is always a squared plus b squared equals c squared. This first one is labeled for us. So remember A and B's are the legs, and it doesn't matter which ones. We have A and B, and C is always the longest side. It's the hypotenuse. So remember that because you have to do this one over here. So you have A, B, and this one is C, the long side. So we're going to set up our equation. We got to solve for B because we don't know what B is. So we are going to do A squared. So instead of A squared, A is 15. So I'm going to do 15 squared. So 15 squared plus b squared. I don't know what b squared is. We're going to leave it as b squared equals c squared, which is 25. So we're going to do 25 squared. Okay. Now let's square all of these. And you put that in your handy dandy calculator. So we got 15 squared is this handy dandy button. So we got 225 plus b squared equals 25 squared. So let's do 25 squared button, or you do 25 times 25, 625. Oh, Mrs. Abbott, we should have, let me hang on, I'm going to erase this. So it is, what did we say, 625? Yep. Okay, now we're going to get B all by itself, so I'm going to get rid of this 225 because I want B alone. So, because remember your problem's put down the middle, so I'm going to take this, and I need to do the opposite to make a zero pair. Opposite of positive 225 is a negative 225 minus 225. These cancel out. I am left with b squared equals 625 minus 225 equals 400. Last but not least, I need to do the square root because I got to get rid of this little baby 2. I got to get rid of the power of 2. So to get rid of the power of 2, I need to take the square root of each side. So that gets rid of the little squared, and now I need to find 400, the square root of 400. So I got 400 here. I'm going to take this as the square root. And we get 20. So we are left with b equals 20. Final answer. Please take this time to do this, your triangle yourself. Come back here when you are ready. All right, welcome back. Hopefully you solved this on your own already. So remember, we need a squared plus b squared equals c squared. A and b are these sides, so this is b, this is a, and this is c. So let's make our equation. So a squared is going to be 6 squared. B squared, we don't know what it is, so b squared equals c squared, which is our last number. It is 10, so we're going to do 10 squared. Now we got to solve these. 6 times 6 is 36, plus b squared equals 10 times 10, 100. Okay, now we got to get b by itself, so let's get rid of this 36. We should have subtracted 36 from both sides. So now let's do 100 minus 36, 64. So b squared equals 64. Those cancel. Now we need to get the square root of b, or we need to square root both sides because that gets rid of the squared. If I add a square root 64. What number times itself gets us 64? Well, maybe you don't remember. But if you do take 64, take the square root, it's 8. Good job. So if you got 8, well done. That is a refresher course for you. You do need this for the rest of your math careers, high school and beyond. On to what we're doing today. So we're going to be completing two-way frequency tables. It's basically a fancy multiplication chart. So remember with a multiplication chart, you guys get, like, you take your fingers and maybe start with 7th grade and maybe you want to prefer math, and they would end here. Right, so frequency tables, they go in lines. So like this 7th grade is, this is gonna be 7th grade, this is gonna be 7th grade, and then total means this is the total of both these 7th grades. So now our job today is we're gonna complete the two-way frequency table. See how there's empty things? There's empty things here. So if you've ever played Sudoku, if this about completing a two-way frequency table is kind of like a puzzle. Sudoku is kind of like a puzzle. So we gotta kind of put the pieces together. So I can't all of a sudden get the total for kids who prefer science because I don't know how many 7th graders prefer science. So don't get stuck. With making these tables, you don't want to have too much OCD. You're not going to be able to complete it left to right, left to right, left to right. You got to try to figure out the pieces that you can figure out. So we have a total here. Okay, we have a total here, and we have a total here. So now the totals here are going to be the totals of like everything in this corner. This is going to be the total of everybody. Because in the totals, so total, so this and this are going to add to this, and this plus this should also add to this. So let's try to figure out some of these numbers. So I would personally, you should start in the row or column that has at least 2 numbers. At least 2 numbers. So I could start here, or I could start here. They both have 2 numbers. Let's start with prefer science, prefer math. So this number plus this number should get me 96. So what I'm going to do is, and you can also set this up as a equation. But some of you are probably like, I don't need to do an equation. I can do it in my head. Fine. What I'm going to do, so we'll say this is x, right? So I have x plus 72 equals 96. So I got to get x by itself. So we're just going to subtract 72 from both sides. And that's going to get us what x is, because x will be by itself. And that's how much is left over. So let's do 96 minus 72 equals 24. So let's erase this. All right, so this is 24. Now you can check your work. If this number plus this number gets you this number, we're all good. So we got 4 plus 2 is 6. Great. 7 plus 2 is 9. Yay! So that works out. So this piece of the puzzle is done. Now, does that give me another column that has 2 numbers? You're right. Now we're dealing with, we can look at preferred science. There's 2 numbers here. So let's figure out the total. So if you look, we have 7th grade and 8th grade. And we need the total of how many 7th and 8th graders prefer science. So we're just going to add these 2 together. 24 plus 32. 4 plus 2 is, you got it, 6. And 2 plus 3 is, yep, you got it, 56. Woo! Okay, we're almost done with our puzzle. We got 3 more pieces. Now look, that gives me another row that has 2 numbers. I still can't do this one. Do you see why I can't do this one? I can't do anything with just 1 number. I need at least 2 to figure out what the missing piece is. So let's go, and I still can't do this way either. I can't do preferred math because there's only 2 numbers. So let's do one of these totals. So let's see. So like I said earlier, so if we don't know what this number is, 56 plus x equals 176. To get x all by itself, we're going to subtract 56, subtract 56. Those go away. I mean, it's still, that number is still going to be there, but for the sake of the equation, it goes away. So we're left with x equals whatever 176 minus 56. So let's get 176 176 minus, hey, I thought I cleared it. 176. 3rd time's a charm. 120. So this number here, so I'm going to erase all this. So this number is 120. Okay, so now this will check out. This number is, we know this is correct if we add both these together and we get 176. So we got 6 plus 0 is 6. Okay, good. 5 plus 2 is 7. Yay. And then 100 plus nothing is 100. Perfect. So that works out. So now I have two numbers in this column. So 72 plus x equals 120. So we're going to subtract 72 from 120. 120 minus 72 gets me 48. 8. And again, 8 plus 2 is 10. 1, 0. 4 plus 7 plus another 1. So 4 plus, so it's really 8. It's going to get you 12. So it works out. Okay, we got one more. So now there's two ways to solve this. We can either add 32 and 48 to get this total, or we could do 176 minus 96 to get this answer. Let's do 32 plus 48. So 8 plus 2 is 10. So put a 0, carry the 1. And we got 4 plus 3 plus 1 is 4. So 4 plus 4 is 8. All right, so we got 80. Let's check our work. Does 96 plus 80 get us 176? Well, you got 6 plus 0 is 6. Okay. 9 plus 8 is 17. Yay! So that works there, and that works there. And that is how we complete a two-way frequency table. So you need at least two numbers to try to figure out the pattern. But you see how we jumped all over the place? So that's why don't try to go in order. Don't try to calculate a row or a column that only has one number. You need at least two. There could be more. Like this one, that's probably in your Nearpod. This has multiple. So you'd have to add the 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, and you add all three of these up to get a total. This one's a nice one. All right. Let us know if you have any questions.